Hello writers, come write with me. My name is Mykela Greenwood. I create worlds for mind adventures. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Write with Mykela. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell so you can go on this journey with me. Today is Tuesday, so we are going to dive deeper into perspectives. I listened to the first video when it was released, and it was missing some meat. Okay. First, many years ago, people used to send stories via email. And I'm going to tell you this story to the best of my recollection. Okay, a group of boys had gathered in a circle and the facilitator was starting things off. So he asked if someone wanted to tell about his best day he had ever had. One boy raised his hand, and the facilitator indicated for him to tell his tale. "Well," started the boy, "he motioned a friend down the street, invited my brother and I to his birthday party, and we knew we would get to play chase and eat cake, so we were really looking forward to it. My mom's car broke down, and it was in the repair shop, so we had to walk to the party. As we started walking, it started raining. I was so excited. Mom doesn't often let us walk in the rain. Then a car went past us very quickly and splattered us with mud. We needed our white shirts for church on Sunday, so my mom had us take them off and she went back home to wash them. When we got to the party, all our friends were there. Even though the rain had soaked our gift and the wrapping was almost melting, it was our friend's favorite gift. Then, just before we could eat cake, the dog grabbed the tablecloth in his mouth and pulled it off the table. So all the plates and silverware hit the floor. Thankfully, the cake was still in the kitchen. The mother got more paper plates, but she didn't have any more plasticware. So we got to eat the cake with our hands. Afterward, we played chase and tag football. It was the best day of my life." The boy's twin brother looked astounded and said, "That was your best day? That was my worst day. All our friends went to the party in nice cars and had on nice shirts. I was so embarrassed we had to walk, and I was even more embarrassed that we had no shirts. I knew the other boys were laughing at us behind our backs. Joey, our friend, only said he liked our gift the best because he felt sorry for us. And I certainly didn't want to get my hands all sticky from eating the cake with my hands. But I knew I had to be polite and eat some cake. That was the worst day of my life." Okay, writers, that's the best I can remember it. You had two twin brothers, and they had the same parents, the same birthday, everything. But their perspectives about the party were drastically different. When we write, we need to get into the shoes or the souls of our characters. We need to see things from their point of view. Think of City of the Ancients. When we found the spider mound, Kirsch's viewpoint was very scared, but Kirian was very calm. You as writers create your characters and need to know how each one will react. I'm going to give another example. And this is an example of perspective from a story from a friend. The court chose my friend for a jury a long time ago, and the jury sat and listened to 2 weeks worth of evidence from the prosecutor and the defense. Basically, they were to decide if the court should hold an older lady responsible for the supposed injuries of a gentleman from a minor car accident. When the jury convened to start discussing things, the jury foreman asked to see a show of hands of those who thought they should not have the woman pay for the man's injuries. Everyone raised their hand. And the foreman couldn't believe it. So he asked for the jurors to present their reasons. My friend worked in the medical department at a university, and she didn't think the accident could have caused the substantial injuries. Then she listened to the others answer the question. No two people of the 12 people had the same reason. My friend didn't remember all those reasons, and she said she didn't really agree with some of those reasons, but they all had the same conclusion. The accident was on one of those circles where people jump on and off. I personally don't like those circles because people drive around so fast. It is hard to enter. So I imagine, this is me thinking, I imagine that one of the 12 people could have had a background in building roads. That person could have protested the city about the circle for them to remove it and make it safer. That person, if he or she existed, would not have blamed the woman, but the city in their design of the streets and the circle. We can make up reasons all day. And that is what I want you to know. I have a perspective. You have a perspective. Your friend has a different perspective. Even if we all conclude the same thing, the woman shouldn't pay, we all conclude that, our backgrounds might make our reasons to conclude different. We could have the same family and same background, like the brothers, and conclude differently. I've spoken to you about your characters' histories. You, as a writer, decide where to start your story. But most stories don't start on day one of your characters' lives. But you need to know what happened to that character before the story starts. Still, you have a lot of latitude. Because think of the twin brothers. The best day was the worst day for the other one. So just because somebody grew up a certain way doesn't mean they're automatically going to perceive things a certain way. There's a saying that goes around that says that your life is 10 to 15% of what you experience or what happens to you, or in our stories, our characters. And it's 85 to 90% of how you perceive it or respond to it. Perspective is also about what someone considers right or wrong, what someone considers exciting or embarrassing, what someone considers exhilarating to scary. I mean, somebody might be willing to go parachuting because they think it's thrilling. Somebody else may be too scared to jump from the plane. Two people, same activity, different perspective. What one person thinks is a piece of cake, someone else will say is no cakewalk. That's an idiom alert for those that did the idiom on a few Tuesdays ago. When you create a character, did they have a hard life before the story? Were they born with a silver spoon in their mouth? There's another idiom for you. Does your character do just enough to get by? Or do they have inner motivation? Now, some writers narrate scenes and tell you how things are going and how people are feeling, and that's fine. Narrators still need different perspectives. Everyone in the story is not Tigger, T-I-double-G-R, nor is everyone Winnie the Pooh. Take a different story. Everyone is not Neo, nor Morpheus, nor Trinity. Morpheus believed in the prophecy. How far would you follow such belief? Do you have a character with such conviction? Do your other characters have faith in that character's conviction? Are your characters steady in the face of danger? Or do they freak out? And Kirsha freaked out with the spiders. I think a lot of people would freak out with spiders crawling all over them. Do your characters have skills? And are they confident in using them? Are your characters introverts or extroverts? All of these things help form your character's perspective. Now, can someone change his or her perspective? Of course. Perspectives can change when someone learns something and takes that lesson to heart, or something happens to you in life and you realize what you thought was true wasn't true, that kind of thing. So you can change your perspective. Now, our writing assignment. Very short. I want you to pretend you were on that jury so many years ago with my friend. The only details we are getting are the old woman turned onto the circle. The man who allegedly received some injuries was a passenger in another vehicle, and that vehicle came out of the inner lane to the outer lane to turn off the circle. There was a little ding in the bumper, which I believe was back in the day of steel bumpers, not these plastic ones we have nowadays, so that could change your perspective a little bit. The passenger claimed he couldn't raise his arm anymore, and he would shake involuntarily. Basically, he could no longer live his normal life. You're a writer. Create your own details. You decide how the rest went and what the lawyers presented to the jury during 2 weeks. I mean, that's a lot of material. Some of the material was the doctor's reports on the man's condition. So you can just come up with something and figure out, the injuries that the man has, and figure out if the little ding caused those injuries. Leave a comment below if you think the woman should be responsible or not, and why. This is your creation and not the real case. I already told you I thought that citizens should make the city remove the circle and put in stop signs or traffic light. And I agreed with my friend that such substantial injuries wouldn't come from a little ding. But that's my perspective. Your writing assignment today is just to leave a comment below on the case, given the few details above and what you mentally add in your mind. No perspective is wrong. Perspective comes with background and experience. Who can say which brother was wrong? No one can. The best day for one person is not necessarily the best day for someone else. Now, you might agree with one brother or the other, but that doesn't make the other brother wrong. And that is why we have juries. So we can have multiple perspectives and see a broader picture before we convict somebody or we make somebody pay or whatever. So we need all those perspectives on the jury. I hope today's video gave you a broader picture of perspective. Many writers have only one main character, so they focus only on that one. Our shared plot gave us 3 characters, but we can still have one as the main character. Kirsha in City of the Ancients stands out. We know more about her. But Kirian and Kilty don't perceive things the same way. And when they interact in the story, their perspective needs to shine through the text. Yes, Kirian and Kirsha share some of the same emotions when they learned about their parents being alive and in the ultrarium. But they didn't process their emotions the same. Do you remember that Kirsha yelled at the dead? Well, Kirian just sat in silence by himself and thought through things. Okay, don't forget to leave your comment. I think I've given you enough to think about today. Join me Friday for story time. I will read City of the Ancients, Chapter 19, The Inner Forest. Join me Tuesday for some more jargon or writing prompt. If you have a suggestion on what I should do, then leave that in the comments. I want to look at flashback and foreshadow. Both are great tools for writing, and they're way up there with alliteration for me. Writers may send their chapters for the chapter exchange to WritewithMykela@gmail.com. In between days, you can visit my website at www.bymykela.com, where you can you will find fictional character biographies. Thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate your participation. If you know someone who would like this video, then please share it with them. This is Mykela with Write with Mykela. Bye for now.